Alright, we're going to go ahead and finish this off with the final part of the brochure, and we've added our cover. We've included a website and an email address. So all we have to do now is decide, do we want to add any color to these parts of our text. And if I add color here, it's a nice thing to do. We can always add color. And we can also add a drop shadow to our large text. Not the smaller text and not the text that we're going to use as our Greeking text. Never add a drop shadow to small text. In fact, drop shadows on text are a very bad thing to do. But once in a while, you can add them, especially on a title if it's large enough text. If it's not large enough, I wouldn't add it anywhere else. Overdoing it, it looks bad. So once in a great while, that's great, but if you added a drop shadow on every single line of text, it's going to look overdone, it's not going to be readable, it's actually going to make your brochure look ugly. So if you're going to add a drop shadow, I would only use it on your title of your brochure. Okay? So that's what we're going to do here, is we're going to actually change our text, give it some color, and we're going to color this in. Now notice I've highlighted the text, and as soon as I've done that, my type tool knows that I want to do something with it in the color fill box. So I'm going to go ahead and double click and try to find a text color that I like, and I can select the text this way, and maybe we'll go with a nice dark purple, and then we'll take a look and see how that looks. And if I'm going to do that, I might want to continue that with my other fonts. And what you have to do is remember, when we were talking about the colors earlier, we would want to continue that. So I'm going to highlight my text here, and then I can come into my text box, and I'm just going to add color here because I want to show you how to do it. And we'll select a different color for this one here. And so I'm just going to add some color. Not that I need you or want you to do these colors. Notice that I didn't quite get this correct here, so I'm going to need to redo that. And I can select my previous color, and it should highlight. Oh, it didn't highlight it. Let's do it one more time. And there we go. That's a little bit lighter, but we can always come back and change those. The nice thing about a computer is you can always come back and change your colors anytime you want. And I want a darker green. There we go. Maybe a little less dark. And just for fun, we're going to do the rest of our text here. Now this text is a little bit too small. I'm going to highlight it, and I'm actually going to change it, make it a little bit larger, just because it's a little bit small, it's hard to read. I could also, instead of it being regular, make it bold, and do the same thing here with this last line of text. Maybe select a color. And the last line here, we'll do the same thing. And just to show that we have color, let's put a drop shadow here. And we don't want to do a different color, we're just going to go with black. If you ever have a colored text, just go with a black drop shadow. We don't have our effects button up here right now because we're working with text, so we need to select our cursor, and now we can put a drop shadow there. Notice it's not very nicely done, so we have to go into the drop shadow effects and change this spread here, the F and the X and the Y, and so we'll make it a little bit smaller. Maybe we'll go with half of what it was. let's make it a 3.5, or let's just go ahead and round that off to a 3. We'll do the same thing here. We'll make this a 3, and we'll see how that looks. That's a little bit better. I don't like the way it looked before. So we just changed how far the shadow went out to the right and came down. Moved it in behind a little bit. It was too much the other way. And notice I'm not going to change this here. Now, as the final part of our brochure, what we're going to do is add titles or bold text at the beginning of our paragraphs so that we can identify where the paragraphs begin and end. And so what we're going to do here is take some text and enlarge. Just simply, this will be our title, and we're going to make these bold to identify where the text begins for the title. And you could also do an italic if there's an italic offering. Let's select it first. We're going to enlarge this a little more, make it a little more dramatic. And you can always go with the italic, something like that. Of course, that's not a bold italic. Here we go. There's bold italic. Take a look at that. There's the beginning of your paragraph. This helps your readers to understand where paragraphs begin and end. And so we'll do the same thing here. And you'll have to remember what the size text was here and what options you chose before. Also, you can add color. And again, the same thing we did before with color. And that'll help to bring out the beginning and ending of your paragraphs. Sometimes this is wise to do, sometimes it's not so wise. You can end up confusing people, but you have to just be careful. You have to really pay attention to what you're doing and what your purpose is for your document. I'm going to go to the page 1, and I'm going to do the same thing here. Oh, missed my text. I'm going to delete that, and we'll grab the text, make sure you get it right in there, and we're going to do the same thing we did on the last one, and take that text and color it. And I'm simply coloring as I go here. I'm not doing anything out of the ordinary, just trying to make something look a little nicer, a little neater. And I think this will be the last one here. And if you have to, you can create the end of a paragraph here. But we're just being inventive here and creating our brochure and adding color here at the end with our text, and just trying to show you some examples of how you can be creative and show others your work and make more of a positive look to your work that's going to not read right, so we don't want that to happen. So as you can see, I'm going to change this. I'm going to delete this line off, and that's going to look a little better. I'm going to add a sentence period here, and probably delete or forward so that that word doesn't jump up in this little gap here. So there you have it. This is pretty much our brochure, and this is what you can do with your brochure very quickly, very effectively. Now you know how it lays out. Now you know what it looks like. Now you know how to create your own brochure by adding color, text wrap, Greeking text, images. You got a little bit of everything here, and it's a lot to grasp, but if you take your time and you work with this project, I'm sure that you'll be successful. If you need any help, simply email me or talk to me in class. Come ask me any questions you need help with, and I'll be more than happy to help you. Good luck on this project, and I'll look forward to seeing your work.